And, uh, let me explain something to you, man. Let me teach you. Let me teach you a little education. So this goes to for y'all weed smokers out there and shit. Niggas smoking up the fucked up weed and shit, doing bad things when it comes to consecration. How you offending consecrated ground and then you want to smoke weed? That don't make no sense, bro. Yeah, let me explain what I mean, man. You see, when you have people that smoke weed and don't respect people's um, habitation to their social economics, not a good thing, man. It's like consecration is everything, man. So if you plant in a certain type of way, you have to have consecration. That means holy ground, a point of purity of your acknowledgement to your life. I'm gonna tell you, people who do the funniest things in life. I'm a hilarious person, but if people do the funniest things in life, there's a difference in reality. You know? Because let me explain how real situations are. If a person, if you rob a nigga that sells weed, you think you don't get weed anymore? It don't make no sense. If you if you disrespect the element that protects the reason or covers the reason of you of your foundation and even of the natural existence. There's some of y'all niggas claim to be herbalists and shit. So how you offending and robbing niggas for their weed, and then you over here claiming to be a herbalist, and the next thing you know robbing niggas for their natural existence of their tribute of a form of a form of acknowledgement for one's habitation when it comes to one's foundation of experience and love to even be a point of courteous, to even have a point of acknowledgement, to receive a form of appreciation or tribute. So how y'all niggas smoking weed and offending the consecrated ground of people's acknowledgement? I don't make no sense about. Some niggas I wonder why you think the earth is not supposed to fight back? Let me ask y'all niggas a question out there. If you locked up and somebody tried to rape your girl, or they try to approach your girl because they wanted to do something to you, and then she fights back, showing you she cared about her man and she actually fights back. And then she conquers the situation, showing you she wouldn't give up your love. What do you think the earth is gonna do one day? Because that's how it's supposed to be. So you telling me sacredcy doesn't mean nothing to individuals, especially when it comes to the earth? Doesn't the earth need a reason, a foundation of logic for one's acknowledgement, even for one's honor, and even for one's education of dignity? You ever thought about these things? Like, if I gotta tell you deep thoughts within myself, I don't gotta tell you too much, man. Another nigga is thinking about, I'm telling individuals, you know how much people done did martial arts? You know how much people done certain things done happen to them a certain type of way? That just try to regard the reason of people's existence, and that did all type of situations for individuals just so they could acknowledge the reason of honor, to even have a day of sacredcy and a day of honor for themselves, of a point of value. Hold on. You imagine that? Hold on. You know, for real. A person did so much for individuals, it's unbelievable. You know, if a person loves themselves so much, and then they do all type of things for an individual, just to even have a form of acknowledgement for themselves, for they can even, it's just like having a cleansing moment for one's reality. It's just like even having a wonderful a point of tribute of acknowledgement for one's reality, even in the form of happiness and even gathering at a time. So how do you think an individual feels if one even educates you and then says, you know, they do certain things for certain type of reasons, but not everybody's the same, because not everybody have a certain reason, but certain things are done for certain type of reasons. Listen, this, like I told you, man, in the beginning of time, you had individuals, some people probably was almost lost in the source. It's just like you have individuals in life that try to achieve or accomplish things for themselves, and then you have, it's just like, let me show you something. Back in the days, another individual would say, yo man, you have spirits that discipline people, and then they said, oh no, these spirits were wrong. You know, these spirits were how can, some people try to say they were evil. Some people try to say some of the spirits were demonic. And then a person was getting disciplined because of the things that they did, and they wasn't acknowledging, because the young youthful mind now realizes the reason of the lessons of education. So one has to grow to know what the experience of life, to know how real situations are. But then you have an individual at a time that, you know, it's just like, you know, blaming spirits for even showing you life, acknowledging the reason of life, even having a point of existence, saying they'll guide you after experiencing life at a certain form. And then a person wonders, it's like, let me tell you something. Some people wonder if spirits ever, you know, how can I say this? If they ever lived a form or reality in life. Yes, they have. You know, this is how come they're in a spiritual realm. This is how come certain spirits can even be in a spiritual realm, because they are part of regard. You know, that tells you they know the lessons of the reason of life. Even though some of them might even indulge and know something, have a form of happiness, because it's guiding a point of existence. So a person doesn't say nothing because the happiness of the love of the reality, even at a time, because one gets to even have a cleansing moment of preparation for themselves, even in the attributes of the humanity, even at a point in time. But if a person over here, say another person somewhere, is saying they're lost in the source and then they don't know what's going on or certain things, that's something else. Because nobody punishes a person a certain type of way to make them feel a certain type of way, unless something has to be cleansed. And if it can be cleansed because of certain things that happen, it has to know the lessons of the reason of existence, of the reason of honor, because of natural order, even in orientation. I don't gotta tell you anything. My dude, I used to tell individuals, yo, I'm gonna be back in life at a certain time, and I'm gonna be here. It wasn't just because I was a part of airlines, people think I did something. No, I'm really here. My physical is really me. Another person's wondering about certain things. What is it to wonder about? Then I tell individuals, I say, yo, listen, man, imagine certain individuals that become like hustlers, and then they try to hustle for reasons of honor. You know, and just think about what I'm saying. Think about individuals hustling for reasons of honor, showing individuals certain things. You know, not people, some people are not bad people. Certain people just got in a certain situation at a time because of certain individuals of their acknowledgement. So these are the reasons certain things happen a certain type of way. Like you may have somebody that wants to make a difference, but the way they go about life or teaching somebody a lesson. But sometimes dealing with social economics, it's hard to gather certain individuals together until one acknowledges the real reason of one's reality, even of one's dignity. So one has to be know the reason of the point of honor for a reason for an individual. So if a person wants to do something in their life, you got to think about how real situations are, because a person goes through lessons to achieve what they want to achieve. Another person don't got to tell you what they've been through, as they try to guide other individuals to have some type of comfortability for tomorrow. But depending on your choices and how you go about your situations, because in a time you have to know the natural order for a situation a certain type of way, and then on top of it, you have to know the point of existence to even have an order. But certain individuals know a level of point of order, and certain individuals naturally know if they, depending on how honesty they were in a point of existence. Now, if you have energies that's re-entering life, and there's nothing new under the sun, they're gonna all remember certain things at a certain time. But another individual, depending on the things that happen in a person's experiences in life, to what a person wanted to know and wanted to do. So a person has to, it's like, you can't forget yourself, so you have to know the reason why one is in existence. One is in existence. And I am existence himself. Another person says, why you speak about existence? Listen, I'm life himself. This is my real physical and a level of myself. And then on top of it, I really look different. And it's still me looking a certain type of way in my physical because of my choice of way I wanted to look at a time for certain things, because for the survival of individuals in the physical reality. One has to know the reason of sacredness and sacredcy. This is why one loves one's reality and condition. Sometimes when you look at somebody doing certain things and certain things are happening in certain ways, a person has to be very judgmental to a situation, because, when it comes to order, like the other night I seen this guy and I went in my pocket, I held on to my knife because his girl went around me, and then he was coming and just closing the door, but it showed me at the time the acknowledgement of what was going on, and then and then on top of it, him in his time it probably was another good time. They have probably had a separate moment for a second, but in public and certain things, it's the way it's happening. You don't want to cause unnecessary acknowledgement a certain type of way, because sometimes you might have a person that looks at things a certain type of way, and they might be very more upfront and bold when it comes to situation, and then it showed that she didn't even appreciate a man. Like I told them at the time, I was like, listen, where I'm from, people be scared of Caucasian people. I looked at him and said that, and then he looked at me. He looked like he wanted to cry when I said that. He looked like he wanted to cry when I said that. Because he's looking at me like, yo, this nigga don't know that he's Caucasian. This nigga don't know he's Caucasian. And that's how he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him at the time. But I'm telling him something, and then he's at a point in life where he should be more settled in the things that he's already dealing with on probably on whatever he does for himself, and then thinking and looking at an individual like, yo, how real does he have to be? And then, and then on top of it, other things that's happening at the time, a man doesn't want to think about a certain type of choice, because it's supposed to be a pleasant, like when you see Caucasian people, it's supposed to be nothing but pleasantry, like a wonderful pleasantry. They're called Caucasians. Those are people that you uplift in emotions in life with certain things, in certain ways for their acknowledgement, because those are people out in the sacredcy of reality even at a time. White people is different. Because white people is also Caucasians in certain ways, but different. They have to be more subtle, subtle to one's militant. For real. Because I'm gonna just show you the reason why. It's just like if you have a Caucasian man and a white person, the Caucasian man has to have more authority than the white person at the time. Depending. And when I say white, it's like I say I'm Abbott white, but I'm an Asian man, Caucasian man. But they still have to have a strengthening because the conditioning of an individual at a time. So, 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 so a person says, "What do you mean?" I said, "It is a way of honor even when it comes to secrecy and real reality with an individual before they have a certain type of consent, because white people are like innocent people. Caucasian people are extremely innocent, but they're more in tune people to the physical reality of life. White people are like more happy-go-lucky and all wonderful and vibrational, vibrating and just loving life. Caucasian people have to overlook a situation for their happiness to make sure even at the time, because of natural order, certain things are okay for them, because white people are just like, they could be a certain type of way, but people don't get into it with white people and stuff. If you see something happening to a white person, like something bad happen a certain type of way, you gotta really pay attention, because a person has to take it very serious. A person's not gonna tell you what the situation is a certain type of way. So one has to take it very serious if certain things, if one views or sees certain things a certain type of way, you gotta take it very serious, because we can't let certain things just happen to even white people a certain time. It's like, if you don't know nothing about life, then I could tell you this: just don't let the wrong person hurt the reason of happiness a certain type of way at a time. Because one day you might want to be happy for yourself. A person says, "Well, why would you say something like that?" Because you got to know how real it is. See, I'm a real parent. There's nothing new under the sun, so it's a different. My type of situation is different from other people. Another person can't say something to me. I could sit there and speak to a white person and then make them feel like they should have did something more for their life, for the physical reality. I'm the only one that could be a form of a real reality for one, could be for they can know the point of real acknowledgement for their habitation, for their strengthening. But I'm not gonna say like when it comes to literal, like, Caucasian people, I'll do the same thing. But there's a point of reality where there's limitations. I happen to be a real parent. There's nothing new in the sun. I'm the real Ra, the real Osiris. But there's a point of limitation to individuals of the physical reality, especially when it comes to my love and to my children, and also to certain social economic systems. Another person may not realize that. I just don't say nothing. Like, through years, I was so militant in the things that I did. I did it a certain type of way, so it took a certain type of time. So I had a certain type of leniency for myself, even at a time. A person was supposed to be responsible because I had a certain regimen for myself, even at a young age. But I'm gonna be real. I still, I'm older than Rags and age and all that. But I'm just be real with you. I'm older than all that's older than all. So I'm just being real with you, for real. But I'm being real with you. I had a certain regimen for myself because I'm supposed to really be around, white people a certain type of way because nobody can lie to them when it comes to the foundation and the reality of their life. So they can't let a person try to take me away from them, and then something happens, and then we go into times that is more prehistoric. We can't get into certain times like that. Some people could be very predatorial in certain type of ways, and then you have people that's very primitive. So you got to be very careful of certain type of situations because then you have other type of people that is even more, uh, 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 how can I say this, uh, enunciated or more of barbaric or more or more or more conversed in the physical reality. So you got to be very careful with certain type of people and stuff. Because you don't want to run into the wrong type of person a certain type of way after certain things that happen, and it comes to the levels of their physics and the education of their acknowledgement. Because a certain person, for them to achieve the precise acknowledgement, they have to have precise physical measurement. So let me explain something to you. It's just like what I was telling you when I was in sitting there, and well, actually I was sitting in the court, and I told you because I had to take off my head tie, but I walked by this restaurant, and in the restaurant, I guess this guy was cleaning. There was some truck cleaning something or doing something, but there was some foul smell in the air. While I was walking over there by this building going towards Flatbush, going up Livingston. And then as I'm smelling the foul chemistry in the air, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is that? And then to think about it, that's just off one level of physics at a point, and look where I just came from. And I was just in a court building. So you got to think about other individuals and how they're surviving, and then the natural chemistry one reflects on even coming out and cleansing myself after. And then on top of it, the smell was so stink. I had a bottle. I have a bottle of alcohol in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So I have a bottle of alcohol in my pocket. I had to literally wipe myself down with alcohol, but my hair tie wasn't on it. It got in my hair. Like the smell must have got in my hair or something, and I felt it. So I was like, you know something? Because I've been keeping it cleansy, so I can know that it's easy for me to have sensibility a certain type of way in the physical reality, so I can know certain things just in case. So I felt like a certain type of way. So I said, oh, this is no good. And then I was on the phone, so I just started wiping myself with alcohol. I have bouncy paper and all type of stuff. So I started wiping myself with alcohol in all type of situations. Like, oh my god. I tried to wipe my hair. I had some other paper too from Amtrak. It was like some other hand paper towels from Amtrak that I had, for using the restroom. So I just, I started wiping my hair with it. I started wiping my hair with it, and then, it's just to wipe the outer part. It was because I had to wipe the outer part of my hair because, after I go from where I'm going, I'm getting other things that I need for myself. And then next thing you know, I'll just be able to just cleanse even more, like take my shower, relax, for my trip because I'm going back out of town. So I'll be more settled for my emotions in situations and stuff. So. But it's just like I was telling you. Imagine a person like a star being that sends a child from their planet to my social economic system for their physical education and stuff, right? And then some children may come at a young age and still have guardians and still parents. There's nothing new under the sun, but still have guardians, still parents. And on top of it, I'm the real parent. I'm just being real. Another person, I'm telling you exactly what I'm telling you. Nothing new in the sun. The real ride, the real side, nothing new in the sun. So I'm the real parent. But then you had other stars that condition children through the paradigm of time because certain things that happened of me being so militant, and when it came to social economics and the reason of one's dignity and honor, and to know one's know one's education, when it comes to social economics and literal education of oneself, of one's habitation. So I had to recover for myself a certain type of way. So if you have star beings that literally are overviewing the situation for the reason of the regard, just to make sure they're never missing out a certain type of way, and then things that they go through in their physics on their day-to-day steps, and then next thing you know, you have children, that's going through their own thing a certain type of way. So, so I'm gonna just be real. So, if you have individuals a certain type of way, don't be a bad example, man. So listen to what I'm saying, right? So imagine individuals. Don't don't listen to what I'm telling you, man. If you have individuals in life that do funny things and stuff, for whatever reason and stuff, but I'll just be real. If you have individuals in life, if you have individuals in life that, since I'm recovering, and then also condition the physical reality of the reason of their habitation, of their social economics, of their sacredcy, you got to think about certain things that happen a certain type of way in a paradigm, because they have a physical regimen that they even gave even for a child to get to their point of sacredcy, so they could even make sure that the consideration of the other person's physics wasn't for nothing of the physical reality. Now, if something happens a certain type of way in the physical reality with individuals and stuff, a person has to know how to be a point of acknowledgement of, to make sure in conditions and certain things don't happen to people a certain type of way. Now, if you have people at a time that does the wrong thing, and then the star being got to come and check on what happened to the physical reality. You see, like I'm seeing like a green glow going around in my hat right now. But say you see something that happens a certain type of way, that you see star being comes and checks on their physical reality to see what happened to this situation. If somebody's going up, like if they send like a chick that comes in social economics, she's an intake, so she's supposed to receive a point of acknowledgement, for she could be precise when it comes to for her habitation, of the reason of her existence, of her dignity. But now if she's getting conditioned, or somebody's trying to cause the wrong type of habitation, of one's, how can I say this, of one's uh, atmosphere, and receiving the wrong type of nourishment in our physical, it could throw off a chemistry of a habitation, and next all type of things are happening that's bad. So another person looks at it as a more responsible being, because how did that happen when they were a natural person of light, and they even showed you that there was nothing wrong that happened, it was just a person regarding the situation, gave them a chance to realize what was going on, and then certain things happen a certain type of way. But then you have people that's already, you have some star beings that probably have their planet, and things are happening on their planet in certain ways. Then on top of it, after they recondition the child, they gotta do their martial arts and say that other things is happening to them. They gotta consider what's going on with them at the present time of them reconditioning, and they gotta think about the things that happen in the paradigm that they gotta keep sacred for themselves. And then they gotta think about the things that they recondition in the present time, and how is it leading up to their situations a certain type of way, and then on top of it, if somebody else try to recondition their habitation or trying to give them the wrong type of atmosphere to their habitation, of their continuance of them reconditioning, trying to keep their purity and trying to also keep their sacredcy when it comes to me and their real dignity. So you got to think about how serious situations are at the time, because there's nothing new in the sun no matter where you go. Now I'm just gonna be real with you, and I'm literally. I'm just letting you know, So a person, you don't look at me at a time, you're gonna see how serious it is. But I'm gonna tell you how real this situation is. They have to know exactly what's going on in their physical habitation of their reality. They have to know exactly what's going on in their physical habitation of their reality. So when they comes to their physics, they won't be off, and then they'll be able to handle their situation. So one has to know the reasons for being indigenous. So one has to remember the reason of the sacredcy. If another person doesn't know, and you wake up and they try to tell you what you were learning wasn't important, that means something's wrong with you. Because or something's wrong with them people that don't want you to know something. It's just like I told you about the cartoon. I told you watch Hercules, the Disney cartoon. One time I was in a forgetful pool with individuals, and then individuals already the forgetful pool. Let me give you the allegory and tell you what it means. Individuals was lining up individuals for them not to remember certain things, because individuals that were so powerful in back in the ancient times. So other people were mad and scared about the people that was powerful because they didn't have a form of rulership at the time. Then other people didn't want to be disciplined by the higher beings. They didn't want the order of their consciousness, of their reason, of their dignity. So those people were considered a natural deterioration. The people who didn't want the consciousness to their natural higher existence of in their natural orientation, the reason of their higher consciousness, they didn't want to be disciplined. They didn't want to listen to the reason of their natural existence, of their regard, the reason of their being. So them individuals were looked upon like a deterioration of the physical reality, the people that had those type of mentalities towards the higher beings. And so because individuals being so militant and disciplining them, so they wouldn't have that type of mentality and trying to educate them, and then individuals that felt like they had to have been physically educated to know the reason why to honor their dignity, because back in those days it was more prehistoric times. Those are like, the reason of that you're going to have remembrance of what the reason of honor. And then if you had those type of people through time that, they just couldn't acknowledge the real reason why at the time, and then they wanted to know, it's not how can I say this? It wasn't, some of them had some preparation because the situation was so serious. Because imagine a man like me seeing that something's gonna happen to me, and I'm the reason why everybody's existing, and I'm making children and to continue in my physical, making children, I know the real reason of their physics, and I'm like, yo, my God, this is really me. I'm not gonna give myself careless. I cared about myself, so this is why I started martial arts. I regarded myself, but I'm not gonna leave myself vulnerable, and then everything happen, and they fall off, and then they be all fucked. I couldn't let something like that happen to innocent people or children. So what did I do? I literally, at the time, I said, yo, you know something? Let me just show them certain things so they can know the reason. But showing them a certain thing hands-on at the time, it was more honorable, because if a child who really knew or knows me, I'm a man of love. You know what I'm saying? The reason of the situations, everything happened to me, was because I I was fearful of losing my continuance of everything I loved of myself. So I had to do everything to make sure that that people were able to survive in social economics, their physics, their education, their mentality, their human condition. So I went beyond, certain other individuals, and then they realized that I was an individual of, the most importance, because, bruh, you have people living beyond times that people couldn't live. There's things that I was doing people couldn't do. And then you have people lining people up. This is, forgetful Paul. They was like lining people up like what they did to Jesus. They tried to know his 4 steps of what he was going to happen to him. Some people did certain things to overregard the situation. Some people were actually causing certain things to happen because they were scared of their elders, and then they wanted to know more than what they were supposed to know, because they wanted to break order of the reason of their habitation at the time. So that even caused more controversy, and then you had people that thought, oh, did it happen, or this time, and so, and then the people that was going to cause it in certain ways, if they ever knew about it, they were scared, because they were like, yo, listen, they knew they were going to do something, and there's no reason to me. It's just like, knowing your parent is of love, and then you're a fucker. And then a parent, listen, if a man wants to, listen to this, listen to this, I'm asking you, if a man wants to go out and make love in life, you don't want to lose your love, right? You want to make sure your love is safe when you're making love, right? You gotta be real. I'm being real. If a man's really making love in life, and then next thing you know, he don't want to lose the reason of his love and stuff. He has to know how to be sacred. And then you had things that happen to certain people already, certain ways, that learn the lessons of the validation of importance. And then if something happened a certain type of way, their acknowledgement was going to be acknowledged a certain type of way, because of their physical condition and things that they needed to be handling for themselves. And then remembering the reason of their dignity and of the militants in the first place. Because a person don't got to, listen, a person don't got time to be iron, and then I know I'm making perfect situations. It's just like if somebody chose to try to recondition my children in the paradigm of time, and I'm over the situation, but if somebody tried to recondition my children in the paradigm of time, you ain't gonna come blame me when I made everything perfect. So what did a person do a certain type of way that would have caused something like that? What did a person do a certain type of way that would have caused something like that even at the time, right? A man said, I gotta be acknowledged, so even a truck turning, he has to turn about a certain distance. So you think about all these type of situations in life with individuals. All these people had to do certain things, and then certain people, because of their mentality of things that they did, they had to learn these type of situations for their acknowledgement, so they could be able to handle their physics. And then you had the people that caused the situation to happen a certain type of way, and in the paradigm fearful of individuals realizing what they caused because of their mentality. And then a person really thinking about their love, and then at the time, say for instance, at the time they realized some of them may have even realized the importance of what's going on in the physical reality. It should have never happened. But this is the reason for orientation, because now if they try to condition something, like imagine certain people causing a war and then they try to recondition individuals. They gotta fess up to their situation, because if they don't, their physical and the example that they're giving is gonna be off, and then the bad things will happen to them even more, and it'll cause even more turmoil in their situation. So some people don't want to cause something like that. Some people, different people live different type of ways. Sometimes I did certain things for my children, and in the ways I did certain things for them, it was for their own habitation and protection. But some of them overused and did it for certain things that for no reason. Like, it's just like showing a child a form of magic a certain type of way, and then they go show their friend. And then I say, yo, listen, they weren't supposed to learn nothing like that. They were already learning something. They're probably learning something else. I didn't want to tell them exactly that they were learning something different. I didn't have to tell them nothing like that. Hey, man. Uh-oh. I didn't have to tell them they were learning something different. And then another person wondering about certain things in time. And then, some people wondering about certain other things in time. And then I'm telling individuals like, yo, listen, I'm going to be real with you. It's really me. But I'm going to tell you how real it is. I never told my child to go show the next person something else, gave away his point of sacredcy, and then him not realizing the reason of his mother, of his astrological tree, and the point of his dignity when it comes to his point of acknowledgement, even when it comes to the higher consciousness. And then when a person realizes something like that, and then they say, it's just like having a girl and then telling some next nigga, yo, listen, if some next nigga walks in your house and goes in your girl's drawer for her panties, you gonna look at nigga, what the fuck? All type of situations that happen. But that's a point of sacredcy for an individual, learning that lesson in life. You're not supposed to give away your sacredcy. If you don't want to get into it, don't do something that will make you get into a situation, right? It's just the reality. It's like having money somewhere, and then some nigga just come take your this that, and you be like, what the fuck? This thing gotta be somebody to do this shit. Son gotta give for this. Son gotta give for that type of situation, right? And then the person wonder like, yo, what the? Would you say? It's like, yo, listen, I'm the real rider, real Osiris. I'm seeing certain things happen in a certain type of way at a time. And I'm telling my son, like, yo, listen, this is only for you. Don't go do this to nobody else. You got other niggas that already wanted to know what the nigga knew, what I was treating him different, because I might have had a child at a time that was acknowledging things different that made me more happy than another individual. And then me dealing with another individual